Before we meet up with Kazuha and uncover the real story behind the legendary 5 Kazan, I need to tell you about a certain incident that occurred in Inazuma. 500 years ago, during the cataclysm that struck Inazuma, engulfed it in a veil of darkness, the only maiden, Chiyo, was slain by her friend, Ei, and she belonged to a clan called the Mikoshi clan. She at the time had 2 sons, a biological son by the name of Doke, and an adopted son by the name of Mikoshi Nagamasa. Doke, upon hearing about his mother's misconduct, secluded himself in Konda village out of shame, where Mikoshi Nagamasa joined the shogunate to revive his family name. Mikoshi Nagamasa had a group of people with him together at that time, namely Miyazaki, Nozomu, Kinjiro, his apprentice Katsuragi, and the wandering eccentric he found near the pavilion of Tatarasuna. Mikoshi Nagamasa was interested in weaponsmithing and soon forged a Daitraga Nagamasa along with his companions, where they drew paintings of it, and Katsuragi and the wandering eccentric would soon perform a sword dance in joy of it. Later on, the group would find out about a certain misconduct done by Katsuragi which involved the wandering eccentric at the time, and while Katsuragi pleaded that it was out of the goodness of his heart, Mikoshi Nagamasa without a second thought slew him with the own sword that he forged for him at the time, which would later be known as the Katsuragi Nagamasa. Later on, this wandering eccentric and the Mikoshi Nagamasa would clash, as all the incidents revolved around this certain individual at that time, and though the story of Mikoshi Nagamasa would soon end there, we would later come to know the name of the wandering eccentric, later known as the 4th of the harbingers. Balladeer.
Everyone, I've managed to find the old diagram. Though the diagram is well preserved, you can still tell that it's seen at least 3 or 4 centuries of history.
Whoa, that's pretty old. Is it still possible to find any evidence of tampering?
At this point, we can only try our luck and see how we fare.
So does anyone here know how to read ancient Inazuma, or?
Although the effect is not too obvious, you can still see that some words have now started to smudge. Kazuha, this is clear evidence that this chart was indeed tampered with. Someone framed the Kaedehara clan all those years ago.
Kazuha, what was your grandfather's name?
I see. But I fear that I've discovered this secret too late. When my grandfather was young, he proposed reviving the Ishin art many times to my great-grandfather. But my grandfather was only scolded for being too foolhardy. Yesterday, the former family servant said that my great-grandfather even went to the Yashiro Commission to request that diagram from the head of the Kamisato clan. He then showed that diagram to my grandfather and asked him and his subordinates to try to forge the sword. Sure enough, my grandfather also failed. My great-grandfather then told him, if you can't find the secret within, then the Ishin art deserves to fade from the world.
Kazuha, I know this is all tragic, but a true weaponsmith should be able to know whether it's been tampered with or not, right?
My grandfather left Inazuma in a rage after hearing those words. He didn't ever see my great-grandfather again, even till the day of his passing. Looking back at it now, the argument between the two of them was simply meaningless.
Or set up by a certain someone.
Oh, Kazuha.
I heard that your great-grandfather was very industrious when he was young, but later in life, he no longer bothered with the forging arts. It appears that his failure took quite a toll on him.
Kazuha, did your great-grandfather really say, if you can't find the secret within? Did he use those exact words?
Yes.
Wait, he knew
The servant
that?
said that he personally heard those words, and still remembers them very clearly. My grandfather was so angry at the time that he smashed my great-grandfather's
Alberto, are you
cherished
trying to
bonsai
say?
tree.
Yes, it appears that you understand my meaning.
Oh, Wes.
Kazuha,
Apparently.
if your great-grandfather thought that the Ishin art lacked finesse, then after witnessing his son's failure, wouldn't he have said something more along the lines of, your skills aren't sufficient? But instead he said, if you can't find the secret within. Don't you find that a little strange?
Huh? So you're saying my great-grandfather may have very well known that the failure was due to someone's tampering?
This Kuronushi is getting more and more interesting.
Yes. The current evidence suggests that is highly likely.
I apologize, but would you all please accompany me to the Tenryou Commission?
We got your back.
After I became a wanted criminal, the Tenryou Commission seized my family's last remaining estate. which contained all of my family's old belongings.
Kazuha, are you sure you're ready to meet her again? Have you really forgiven the person who stole your friend's life in the end? Sarah, I'm here for the 3rd time. Tell me you miss me. I don't think she missed me.
What are you all doing here? Did something happen on Rito?
We're here to ask about something.
Kujo Sara. Perhaps you still remember
How
me.
can she forget?
Yes, I do. You're Kaedehara Kazuha, a wanted criminal during the Vision Hunt decree. However, your arrest warrant has since been repealed.
Sara, we'd like to ask about the Kaedehara clan's property that was seized by the Tenryou Commission.
Yes, the items seized at that time are currently stored in the warehouse next to the police station. Since Kaedehara has come back to Inazuma, those items should be returned to their rightful owner.
No, I'm afraid you misunderstand. I'm not here to reclaim those belongings. I just want to investigate them for a personal matter.
I see. All right, I'll inform the police station. They'll take you into the warehouse.
Thank you, Sara!
Kaedehara, about the
So
Vision
we are
Hunt
talking
decree.
about it, aren't we?
That's all in the past now, Kujo Sara. There's no need to mention it again. I know you've also had your own convictions and struggles.
So let's live in the present now, shall we? Both of you.
However, may I ask something of you?
Yes? What is it?
Currently, I have no plans to stay in Inazuma. As a result, those items from my family's estate are of no use to me. Madam Kujo, I believe you are a person of integrity. After our investigation is over, I'd like to ask if you can handle those belongings for me. Please, sell them, and use the money to help the poor.
All right, I understand.
We've sure grown since then, huh?
I've already informed the police station. There'll be someone to take you into the warehouse, so you may head there directly.
You sure you're not gonna
As for all
apprehend
the
me like Left
belongings
End?
left by the Kaedehara clan, I will deal with them promptly.
I know you will.
The Kaedehara clan's belongings are stored in this warehouse. Unfortunately, the items are scattered throughout in order to save space. My deepest apologies. However, I have clearly marked the corresponding items, so they shouldn't be too difficult to find. I'll be waiting for you at the door. Please, come see me if you require any assistance.
Kazuha, since the items are scattered throughout the building, I propose we split up and look for clues.
Yes, sounds like a plan.
We got your bag, buddy. Wait, is it really just, search for belongings? Wait, okay, talk to everyone. I thought, I'll have to go around smacking things. I'll talk to you last, because, you're just randomly here.
Oh, it's you.
You got anything of value?
Unfortunately, I have yet to find anything of value here.
Whoa, this folding screen looks pretty old, though.
Yes, perhaps if it were better maintained, then it could fetch a decent price. However, I doubt it could be sold in its current condition. I was taking a closer look just now and noticed a large piece of dirt caught in the fabric fibers on the back side. The soil is deeply embedded into the cloth. That means a great deal of force was used when the dirt was lodged into the cloth. It's likely that this patch of dirt is from the very flower pot.
Isn't that an important discovery then?
This is not what we're looking for now.
But it ties up to what we are, right?
Let me think. If I wanted to leave a message behind, I would probably choose to leave it on something a little more special.
Anything so far?
I found quite the pile of old books. These books here are all related to smelting steel. And these are about the process of forging blades. This pile over here is all about plants and flowers.
The books about plants and flowers must
Could there be any clues in the books?
Great-grandfather.
I skimmed through them just now, but I didn't find anything particularly worth noting.
We haven't had the chance to talk ever since the festival, have we?
Oh, it's you. I'm currently investigating the sword rack.
Oh, since the Kaedehara clan was a family of renowned swordsmiths, then this blade should be super valuable, right?
I'm afraid not. Although the sword rack is made of fine wood, the swords placed here appear to be quite ordinary. Due to the dire financial situation of the late Kaedehara clan, everything of value has probably been sold off already. The blade on the sword hasn't been sharpened, but there are many signs of use on the hilt.
Let Paimon see! Oh, there seems to be a couple uneven characters etched into the scabbard. Kazuha. Wow, so it really was Kazuha's! Paimon can imagine what Kazuha was like as a kid.
Like you, floating around me all the time.
Investigating here and call you if I find anything interesting.
Is floating children just a norm in Genshin Impact? Paimon, what do you think? Also, floating disappearing child. The city doesn't have anything useful, I'm sure of that, so you know. Well,
There must be some around here somewhere.
Wendy, I'm sure the people who are looking after this place already drank all the vintage wine.
Do you see all these pots here? Some of them are bound to have liquor inside, right?
Hey! Everyone else is trying hard to help, and you're over here looking for a drink!
So did you find anything?
I merely jest, of course.
Well, Paimon doesn't really get why Kazuha told Sara to sell all these belongings.
He's really trying to cut off his past and start anew.
What if we don't end up finding anything today? Then wouldn't Kazuha lose the chance of finding out what really happened all those years ago?
I know you are worried about Kazuha, but if you ask me, he is stronger than you think. Since Kazuha made such a request to Sara, that indicates he's already made his choice. Whether we find out the truth or not today, or whatever it turns out to be, he's ready to accept it.
Your stupidity is kicking in,
No, not intuition.
Oh crap, he heard me.
Rather, I've lived for a long time now, so you could say I have some experience in reading
All the way back to the original gods?
Leave the things here to me.
No, you tell me
You
about
two can
Astaroth
look around
already.
elsewhere.
Everyone, I've found something that you should all have a look at. This flower pot was in my house for a long time. I heard that it was left behind by my great-grandfather.
Yeah, the plants seem to have been dead for a while now.
So what did you notice?
Well, after my great-grandfather stopped studying the forging arts, he picked up the hobby of keeping bonsai plants. Most of his prized plants were given to others once he became seriously ill. But he specifically left behind this dead plant at the time, and even instructed my grandfather not to throw it away in his will. My grandfather deeply regretted that he never managed to reconcile with my great-grandfather, so he left the plant exactly as it was. But now that I think about it, my great-grandfather could very well have left it behind for other reasons.
Now that you mention it...
Yes. Let's take a closer look,
Shall we? They find a hidden compartment at the bottom of the flower pot.
We finally found something! Do you think someone already discovered the compartment and swapped the contents?
I do not think that is the case here. See the paper? It's quite yellowed, which means it's very old.
Maybe try using water again?
You mean to say that these sheets have been written with special ink? Like that which Miss Kamisato
That's
found
what I
before?
mean, but considering the age, it could well be smudged off.
Yes, I agree with this hypothesis.
Okay, let's give it a dunk then.
There is a pond outside the police station. I'll use the water there.
What did you leave behind, old man?
Well, how did it go? Those weren't just plain old sheets of paper, were they?
Just as everyone guessed, after I sprinkled some water onto the paper, writing did indeed begin to appear on it. It is a letter, written by my
So
great-grandfather.
Kuronushi couldn't get a handle of this, could he?
What does the letter say?
Is it something you can share with us too? Kazuha?
It is. I'll tell you what my great-grandfather knew at the time, but before that, I wish to take you somewhere. Everyone, please follow me.
It's morning already?
Kaedehara, why did you lead us to this beach?
It is. In fact, my great-grandfather and the head of the Kamisato clan tracked the fleeing swordsmiths to this very location. Our hypothesis was correct. My great-grandfather was well aware of the truth behind the defective blades. And it was right here where they encountered the culprit who framed the Kaedehara clan and the Raiden Gokaden.
They did meet with Kuronushi then, huh?
It reads, "To whoever reads this letter, I, Kaedehara Yoshinori, have been held to a certain secret throughout my entire life. I don't have much longer in this world, and after much consideration, I finally decided to disclose the matter. All those years ago, when I was pursuing the swordsmiths alongside Commissioner Kamisato of the Yashiro Commission, I was not injured by one of the fleeing smiths. Rather,
It was night, and after the clues led us down to shore, I waited for the culprits to show themselves. However, there were no swordsmiths in sight. only a single eccentric stranger.
You mean wandering eccentric, right?
This stranger claimed to be the one behind the failed forgings, and said that he had been patiently waiting for us. He then threatened to destroy the Raiden Gokaden. That person was of able body, and in a blink of an eye, myself and the accompanying samurai had been defeated. Commissioner Kamisato was severely wounded, and I barely escaped death myself. My hat had fortunately blunted a blow to my head.
You're the one who's responsible for Ayaka, Ayato, Kazuha.
The unusual stranger could have easily claimed my life at that
Won't you
moment.
tell me his name already?
After noticing my appearance, he stopped his attacks and sternly asked if I had any connection with the name Niwa. I answered that it was my father's surname, and after my father disappeared, I was adopted by the Kaedehara family. Upon hearing my answer, the stranger paused. After a long silence, he suddenly said, "Tell her this. My name is Kunikuzushi." He then turned and left.
Neva. Where have I heard that name before? Traveler.
Wow.
You don't know, do you?
So that's what really happened.
Leave it to Paimon to break the ice.
Yes. My great-grandfather and the head of the Kamisato clan escaped from death and learned that the forging diagram had been tampered with by Kunikuzushi.
Scaramouche is the name he also goes by.
However, due to the encounter, the head of the Kamisato clan was worried that my great-grandfather would be falsely accused of being involved with the perpetrator. So even on his deathbed, the master of the Kamisato clan cautioned my great-grandfather to never speak of what happened, because the perpetrator said he would destroy the Raiden Gokaden. My great-grandfather worried that the perpetrator would still return for vengeance, so, to protect his loved ones,
But he couldn't with the blade.
closed the family business.
He did it with his actions instead.
He said, "As the leader of the Kaedehara clan, I am deeply ashamed to witness the decline of the Ishin art. But as a father, it is my priority to ensure the safety of my
Kazuha.
children."
He was a father and a weaponsmith, if you ask me.
Yes, that's right. If my grandpa had somehow discovered the secret behind the tampered diagram all those years ago, perhaps my great-grandfather would have told him the truth. Unfortunately, he failed to catch any of the hints in my great-grandfather's words. Miss Kamisato, it appears you were unaware of the happenings that my great-grandfather described here. What are your thoughts?
I suppose the reason the head of the Kamisato house never spoke of this to the family was due to similar safety concerns. If the perpetrator was capable of tampering with even the Shogun's diagrams,
He did come from the Shogun after all.
many men, then he is not an ordinary enemy.
That bastard.
I will discuss this matter with Brother shortly and investigate the identity behind the one called
You won't find him.
Kunikuzushi. Rest assured, we will act cautiously.
I'm gonna find him before that. But Kazuha, how you feeling?
To be honest, as I read the letter, I felt much turbulence in my heart. But now I've managed to calm myself. My great-grandfather said in the letter that he did not wish his descendants to blindly seek revenge and be deceived by things of the past. Though he was in a tight situation when he wrote these words, I feel like they are still valid nonetheless. I think what's most important for each person is not the past, but the present. Even though we must carry the burdens from the past, there are also things we wish to strive for. Therefore, knowing the truth behind what happened is enough for me. I will live on just as my great-grandfather had hoped.
To the future now.
That being said, if the enemy from all those years ago is still lurking and plotting to stir up more trouble, then I definitely won't turn a blind eye.
That's the hero who saved me in the end.
These are simply insights I've gathered from all that I've experienced. Thank you all for accompanying me in my search for the truth behind that incident.
Great! Now that we're done here, let's head back to Rito.
But Albedo, did you find your inspiration for the final portrait? Why do I got a feeling? You do? The Irodori Festival goes in full festive swing. Your work is going well, finally.
Today is the final stage of the Irodori Festival. Not only will there be Shincho's signing event, but Albedo's painting of Kuronushi also be unveiled.
This is when the travel is gonna see.
Let's take a stroll through the festival venue. Maybe we'll find everyone there.
Yeah, don't blow a fuse, traveler. Okay, come on, we can't see it. Catch.
Albedo, why is the portrait of Kuronushi all covered up? Paimon wants to see what your Kuronushi portrait looks like.
Not just Paimon.
Don't worry. The unveiling ceremony will be starting shortly. You'll see what it looks like then. I will say that I'm most satisfied with this particular work. I even made a special trip to see someone in order to complete it. They gave me some very valuable suggestions.
Wait. Albedo? That sounds pretty suspicious if you ask me.
Is that so?
Well, it's been some days, huh?
What are you doing here?
I came here to take in the sea breeze. Such a bustling atmosphere is never really to my liking.
He's alright.
I knew you were still worried about me. Thank you. But please, don't worry. The things I said in front of everyone weren't just pretty-sounding excuses. Look.
I know it wasn't.
See this familiar harbor in front of us? Before, you could sit here all day without seeing a single ship pass through. Instead, all you would see were soldiers from the Kanjo Commission, guarding against possible intruders. But now, it's become a bustling place.
Like it was originally made, wouldn't you agree?
Not only are foreigners coming to Inazuma again, but traffic between here and
Watatsumi
Watatsumi Island has also been picking up.
Island too, huh?
Yeah, Inazuma has already started to change, huh?
Let's keep bearing witness to it, shall we?
I was thinking, in some ways, each and every one of us are similar to this country. It might take a different amount of time for different people, but there will inevitably come a day when each person can let go of their burdens.
I'll grow with them, Kazuha.
And when they finally let go, they are free to follow the wind as they please.
It's my favorite siblings in the whole of Inazuma.
Ah, greetings, traveler. Paimon.
How's it going, Ayato?
Oh, Ayato! We finally get to see the busiest person of all.
You really won't let Ayago stay alone, will you?
Yes, there were many things which required my attention these past few days. Fortunately, the Irodori Festival is proceeding smoothly. The Tri-Commission cooperated closely to prepare this festival, so at long last, I can take a break today.
For 2 minutes, I'm assuming.
Brother and I are very grateful for your help.
I didn't do much. What did I do? I can't keep count anymore.
Thomas sure is taking his sweet time.
Another creative drink you made him drink?
Yes. Today is one of the rare occasions
You really hate
when
him,
Brother
don't you?
isn't busy. I was going to buy some books, but he said he wanted to come along. His treat. However, he forgot his wallet at home, so he asked Toma to go back and fetch it for him.
Paimon didn't think Ayato could ever be forgetful like that.
Brother always works diligently, and it's rare for him to ever put his duties to the side and relax. So, Toma and I really cherish such moments when he's forgetful.
Brother, even if Thomas here, you can't simply forget to bring your purse. Alright, so that's what. So they really, you know, sneak peek us about what's actually going on. Hey, he's sitting there signing the books.
Traveler, Paimon, it's a pleasure to see you.
Did today's signings go as planned?
Indeed it did. Thanks to you, the signing event went off without a hitch. And I must say, the readers seem most satisfied.
Shinto, is it just Paimon, or are you on the lookout for something?
You aren't mistaken, though I'm ashamed to admit it. But in fact, I have been on the watch for tourists from Liyue. After all, I came to Inazuma under the pretext of evaluating a potential investment. If an acquaintance were to see me sitting here, then there would be no way to hide the truth from my father.
You really did hide the fact that you came as an author to Inazuma from your father, right?
Fortunately, the crowds of readers that came flocking over have kept the usual tourists at bay.
You're still the same as always, Tingshu.
Oh, I should mention, Shu is also unaware of the real purpose of my trip. If you happen to meet him, please, remember to keep it a secret.
We got you covered. Hey look, it's my biggest headaches and Yaimiko.
Well, hello everyone.
You finally got a break to yourself, huh?
Hey! What are you two doing together? Don't think we didn't see you two chatting up a storm just now.
Is that so? I'm afraid you're just overthinking things.
We were merely discussing wine and food. I'm sure you two wouldn't be interested.
Well, I guess I'm not invited, so I'll be going now.
Speaking of good sides with sake, I personally prefer fried tofu.
It's time for the portrait's unveiling ceremony.
Miko and Wendy are drinking and chatting in a corner. The empty bottles are starting to pile up in an alarming rate, but it seems they've really been discussing the best sites to go with sake the whole time. Sure, they were. Alright, it's finally time for the unveiling. And it's morning automatically in the land of Tibet.
Everyone, welcome to the magnificent Irodori Festival. Today, we have ushered in the final stage of our festival, and now we will reveal the final portrait of the 5 Kasen. Kuronushi, which was done by none other than our guest artist from Mondstadt, Calx.
Yay, Calx!
Paimon has no idea what Albedo's portrait looks like. Oh, this is so nerve-wracking.
Let's all count down together. 3, 2,
One.
1. What's this? This piece depicts nothing but a background.
Wait, a background?
I suppose Calx must have forgotten to include the character. Let's hear some words from Calx himself regarding the creative process behind this piece.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to say that it was an honor to be invited to create the portraits of the 5 Kasen. The 5 Kasen are legendary figures from ancient Inazuma, famous for their works of poetry. As time passed, poems were composed about them, and they became the subjects of many stories. I learned from existing sources about those stories that the character of Kuronushi is the deepest and most differing of the 5 Kasen. Moreover,
That's not the full painting,
Kuronushi lacks
is
a
it?
dedicated chapter among the stories. It's as if he is a behind-the-scenes role of the 5 Kasen. Perhaps we can assume that every creator had a different understanding of Kuronushi. So, in the same way, I also wanted to leave this character to everyone's own imagination.
Geniuses just operate differently.
After all, the Irodori Festival is a place for everyone to express their minds through creative works.
Yep, that's Albedo for ya. His super logical explanation is sure to win everyone's
But
approval.
once Paimon, you and me were thinking the same thing.
Well, it seems that our adventures at the Irodori Festival have come to a close.
Aren't you forgetting something, Paimon?
Huh? What are you talking about? Oh. Oh, right! We still haven't figured out who
But
wrote those stories of the 5 Kasen
I have an
for us
inkling
to
of who it
find.
might be.
Really? Come on then, who is it? Tell Paimon!
First is someone that knows every one of us.
Well, that makes sense.
Also, they're connected with the Kazuha clan.
Give the right. Even though they were using stories to hint us toward Shincho's troubles, the real goal was to lead us to solve the secrets of
Look
the
at her
Kazuha
thinking.
clan.
Look at her thinking. Please satisfied face of knowing it all. I don't know what she's talking
Paimon
about.
gets it now. Well, at least Paimon thinks she knows.
Look for that person. I swear to God, for once, don't be you. Be anything but you. It's not her. I have no idea what Trial's talking about. Have you guys figured out who it is?
The one who left the stories of the 5 Kasen. I'm afraid you guessed wrong, Paimon. It wasn't me.
Huh? Really? Oh, Paimon thought for sure you'd be the sneaky and tricky one.
But seeing as you stumbled upon me, you aren't far from finding that person now.
I always was a B student though. It's you, isn't it?
Ayato! You're the one behind the stories of the 5 Kasen! But don't you think you overdid it a little? Leading all your friends on a wild hunt like that?
As it just so happens, one of the reasons I'm here today is to explain the details behind this wild hunt.
Huh. Paimon wants to see how you'll explain yourself out of this one.
First of all, the start of this whole incident was due to mere happenstance. You see, Lady Yai happened to catch
I knew
sight
it
of
was
Shincho
all
and
Yai
Merida carrying the
Miko.
books
Alright, to
away
be
one night.
fair.
She thought it was interesting, so she asked me to tease them a
And
bit.
this,
Huh? So it was Miko after all!
obviously.
Paimon knew it! This thing had Miko written all over it!
That's right.
And she's the only one who
But
knows
using the
how
story of the 5
Kunikuzushi
Kasen
looks
to
like.
guide you to the Kaedehara family's secrets was my personal touch. As for my roundabout approach, well, that was something which I had no choice but to do.
Special orders from Lady Yai?
Yes. Due to a certain incident that occurred earlier, I happened to notice the bonsai plants left behind by Kaedehara Yoshinori, as well as the blank papers hidden inside. I knew there was more than meets the eye regarding those papers, but it took me some time to figure out the secret behind the ink, the kind that would only appear when exposed to water. What Kaedehara Yoshinori said in the letter is very important for both the Kamisato clan and the descendants of the Kaedehara clan, especially Kazuha. The Kaedehara clan used to be subordinates of the Kamisato clan. It was my ancestors who were unable to protect them all those years ago. So now, this obligation fell on my shoulders.
So this is what you meant by personal touch.
Although he has the right to know the truth, the closer he draws to things hidden out of sight, the closer he also draws to danger. I had to confirm whether Kazuha has both the will and ability to be privy to the truth. Of course, I could outright tell him the truth that I had discovered, but maybe he doesn't have the will that's required. In that case, the truth would only become a burden to him.
Someone had to test him, man.
If he lacks the ability, then he wouldn't be able to find the truth in the first place. In which case, it would be better to keep him away from danger altogether. Kaedehara Yoshinori left his message in a roundabout way precisely for this reason. For a long time, I yearned for a suitable opportunity to convey this matter, right up until the night when a legend of sword was smuggled away.
Oh, Paimon gets it now.
But why'd you involve everyone else too?
Yeah, it wasn't only Kazuha. You brought all of the rest of us.
Another personal touch of yours?
I figured you would ask this question eventually.
Now I gotta be worried about you too,
I merely saw that this matter
that
would be
fox is still another plane than all of us combined.
And more importantly, I hoped that while Kazuha and Ayaka were looking for the answers together, they would have some reliable friends by their side. Reliable friends who would be willing to protect them and make measured decisions. Friends who would spare no effort to lend a helping hand in times of trouble. Because it is also very likely that you will face the same enemy together in the future.
But when, Ayato? He did leave some fun lines for me last time after all. Kunikuzushi.
You already know the answer deep down inside.
It's getting pretty late, so nobody else is around now. So Ayato must have been telling us to splash water on the portrait, right?
How do you still feel about him, traveler? Unfinished business, huh?
It's the Balladeer! So he was the one behind the trouble all those years ago!
You remember what he said, right?
When there is no one else near the portrait, you can confirm with your own eyes. As for the means of revealing that answer, well, you have used it many times before.
What will be your answer when confronting him again, Lamine?
Also, there's one last thing that we must discuss. I mentioned earlier that the occurrence of a certain incident made me notice the bonsai plants.
More details about what we thought we already learned about earlier?
It was just after the Shogun announced the abolition of the Sakoku decree. I heard that something had happened at the Tenryou Commission.
He striked again?
They had discovered signs that someone had entered the warehouse storing the Commission's articles of evidence and confiscated items. But nothing was stolen. I felt something unusual about that incident. So I told Kujo-Sara of the Tenryou Commission to treat it as if nothing happened. She was not to increase the guard or relocate the warehouse contents.
So it sounds to me like he was looking for something, Scaramouche.
In the meantime, I sent a member of the Shumatsuban to keep watch over the warehouse. And sure enough, someone was sneaking in and rummaging through the belongings of the Kaedehara clan.
You mean, he was also looking for...
I let him search for a while, but in the end...
So he even knew that Kazuha's great-grandfather led a little clue for Kazuha to find.
Why didn't you send someone to catch him?
The best way to protect a secret is to treat it as if it doesn't exist, is it not? Besides, the identity of this person is not hard to guess.
And he won't have much of an identity when I'm through with him next time.
After he left Inazuma, I carefully checked the Kaedehara clan's belongings one by one, and eventually discovered the papers in the hidden compartment of the flower pot. I am certain that the papers are the secret which the infiltrator sought to find, though he couldn't confirm whether this secret existed at all.
He had a certain inkling, eh?
Now on to my final question. Which part of Kaedehara Yoshinori's experiences was the secret that needed to be protected?
Kaedehara Yoshinori knew that the family was framed. Kaedehara Yoshinori knew the culprit was named Kunikuzushi. He didn't have that name. He only adopted that name soon after, like we learned from Mikoshi Nagamasa. If I'm a shallow husk wandering to find a reason, I'd cut all ties with any other reason I had in my past.
I don't have an answer to this question.
Ah, you piece of shit.
I'll leave it to your future self. As for now, please, enjoy yourselves at the Irodori Festival.
It was eye-catching all the way to the end, huh? True Tales of the Violet Garden Act 4 complete. The palace died in black.